Today it's time for the finals of another weekly cup. And you know what? The top dogs have once more come out to play. It's the #1 Protoss in the world going up against the #1 Terran. Bottom left hand corner, on a map called Rorschach, we have none other than Clem. Bottom right, we're looking inside of the main base of herO. So, this is the finals of the WardiTV Monday 96. It's been running for such a long time already, which is pretty crazy. And it's nice to see that the very best players in the game are signing up for this event as well. Now, of course, this is played on the brand new patch, the one that makes Command Centers 300 minerals. And we've now seen, well, I think this patch be around for maybe a week and a half or so, something along those lines. So this was played, well, last Monday, meaning that the players have had some time to practice. They should be more familiar with how things are going. I did cast that previous series as well between them. That was played the day after the new patch went live. Now it's had a little bit of time in the oven. And of course that means that, well, hopefully we're gonna at the very least see some more refined build orders. The first two things, though, that I noticed looking at the patch and the games between these two specifically is that first off, the Command Center buff is absolutely massive. And secondly, the Colossus buff is surprisingly nice. The Colossus really deals a lot more damage, specifically to units like Marauders. So basically what they've done is they have shifted some of the bonus damage away from units that are light to just general damage on the Colossus. So it used to be specialized against light units, and it's still definitely better against light units, but it's now not as god-awful against literally everything else. And it's nice, like you can go mass Colossus quite nicely and deal quite a bit of damage with them as well throughout the game. So the back and forth between Disruptors and Colossi, it's been a very nice thing to see. herO obviously does that sort of thing better than any other Protoss out there. He's a very flexible player, so we'll have to see exactly how this type of series goes down. Another thing, though, that we noticed specifically from the herO games at the time was that the additional buff that they added to the Warp Gate research, so it used to be a 40% production speed buff, now it's a 50% production speed buff. He was hitting supply blocks left, right, and center, and it was just, yeah, a little bit difficult to watch. So that was, I think, probably the first high-level PvT that herO had played on the latest edition of the patch, and we could tell it was just not very smooth, and because of it, the entire series against Clem did seem a little bit rough. So let's see, how is this all gonna work out this time around? I will say that in this matchup, the 300 mineral Command Center situation seems far less problematic than I think most people expected it to be. At the very least, it seems that Protoss is still able to win, you know? And the way that most people were talking about the new patch initially was that it was going to be impossible for Protoss to do so. Now, I do think the 300 CC is problematic in Terran versus Zerg. We haven't really seen the bottom of it just yet, that's for certain. There's going to be a lot more late-game matches in particular where I think Zergs just have to be more aggressive. Because playing the macro game against Terran in the long run is, I think, significantly harder now. But since in this matchup you don't make that many Command Centers anyways, I mean, you do still make at least a few, but it's really only a few hundred minerals saved, and the buffs to Protoss seem to, at the very least, counteract most of the advantage quite nicely. But only time will tell. We don't really know. Good old Widowmine drop to start things off right here for Clem. We already have a bunker set up. It's going to make it difficult for Stalkers to go across, but look at that. A very, very fast Robo Bay. So going a Robo facility first in general in this matchup is kind of weird. Generally speaking, it's a Blink Stalker opener, so a Twilight Council build or potentially a Stargate build every once in a while. Going Robo facility first, definitely the most uncommon of the three. But we'll see how this all works out here. So it's Observer into Prism into what I would imagine is going to be Colossi. Now, as soon as he realizes that this is going to be some sort of... Wait, are we even going Widowmine drop? Oh, we're not. Ah, he tricked me as well. I thought he was going to go Widowmine drops, but that's not the case at all. herO actually is scouting this better than I did, even though he's got very limited amounts of info. I got baited there by Clem. Clem doing the big switcheroo inside of the main base, opting to go Cyclones and a Raven instead. All right, fine. You win. You win this time, Clem. So it's Gravitic Drive? Wait a second, this is a Reaver drop. It's a StarCraft 1 Reaver drop minus the Reaver. So this is a Speed Prism Colossus drop? Yes, dude. So Gravitic Drive, this is normally what you do in StarCraft 1 in this particular matchup. Gravitic Drive gives you an additional movement speed boost on the Prism. How good is this? I guess they're better at roasting SCVs now, although they don't get the little scarab absolutely spasming Terran players out. Yeah, it's gonna finish up perfectly. Look at this. Upgrade is done right now. Zoom. Careful though with the Cyclone. So it two-shots workers. Raven is kind of sick as well. Do you go Interference Matrix? I don't know. Interference Matrix would hard counter this though. Siege Tank did take a bit of a beating. Yeah, he's very scared of the Widowmine potential and the Cyclones and all the rest of it. Okay. This is something though that's gonna require a little bit more practice, right? Like there's no way this was the maximum amount of damage possible. I think we could do a bit more. But this is very much undiscovered territory. The juggling can be very nice. Whoop. You want the lock-on to be on the Prism. Yeah, now what do you do? 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 You snatch it. Nicely done here by herO. He needed to fly away with the Prism to break the lock-on of the Cyclone, but then obviously leave the Colossus by itself for just a moment. Auto turret to try and intercept the return of the Prism as well. This is a cool style. Oh! I love it. The Zelnaga Healing Shrine in the middle of the map. They prevented air units from going in there. That's specifically for things like Oracle builds. But you know what? The Colossus can quickly get some healing done. I love this here from herO. This is exactly the type of stuff that the new patch is supposed to introduce. So sick. In the meantime, he's not really committed to any sort of all-in. He's been macroing his way up to a third base. And he's even thinking about potentially going for the golden minerals all the way at the 12 o'clock position. In the meantime, third command center is nearly done. Clem is not going to be too upset with how things are going. He did hit a bit of a supply block, but he's going to be able to sort that out reasonably nicely now. Yeah, I think Clem is mostly just going to chill for the time being, right? So he's got Stimpack, Combat Shields +1 and all that done, but he knows that the Colossus can move in really quickly, and because of that, he wants to sit at home and probably just defend the third. That's exactly what herO is scouting right now, too. And because of it, we're celebrating with a gold base. Okay. Strategically, what herO is doing here makes so much sense. Now, this is, of course, when you have to keep in mind that Clem, is very much so the Mike Tyson of Terran. Everybody may have a plan until they get punched in the mouth. You need to be very, very careful, because Clem can just suddenly overwhelm you if you're not. This is a very scary Terran army, right? And it's not like Clem is really far behind economically or upgrades-wise or anything along those lines. I don't think he's seen the gold base. No, he has. He did scan. Okay. He didn't notice. Maybe he didn't scan, actually. Oh, hallucinated Colossi. Hallucinated Archon. Half the army is fake. Are we going to flinch and run? Oh, the force fields are really good as well. Now suddenly that medevac drop that headed up north to try and kill the third base or the fourth base of the Protoss needs to return back. It's because of the hallucination, I believe. He could have kept the units on the other side of the map and possibly killed a base. Now instead we're running out of juice here at home. I love the hallucination so much. It's so sick, man. Again, herO needs to be careful that he does not overextend. But this is some proper high-level gaming here. Raven is not really doing that much this game. Yeah. Colossus count, though, still just on 1. That's the early game one. It's got 10 confirmed kills, which isn't bad. But it's also not amazing, considering how long it's been out for. Viking numbers are growing, finally. Extended thermal lens coming up as well. I wonder if maybe we could have gone for that a little bit quicker. Anyways, armoring in the meantime. That means that Clem wants to go into double upgrades for 2-2 here in just a sec. And he's now flying on over the 4th command center towards the left side. And that'll give him a good bit of income. Do we go planetary over there? I would imagine we go planetary, but I don't know. Zealot's thinking about going in around the side. Nice split right there against the Widow Mines. Yep, mitigating as much of the damage as possible. But this is still just a lot of Marine Marauder. Force field's yet again pretty dang good. New Prism has to be coming out. Clem doing a great job, though. Not getting overwhelmed. And slowly but surely, his army size is growing. Still, the golden minerals are giving a very nice income boost here to herO, who's mostly similar as far as the worker count goes. Obviously, there are going to be mules mining as well from time to time, but he is now able to inch a little bit of an advantage because of those golden mineral fields. Nexus in the upper right. +2 has been fired up. These have not been very smooth, I will be honest. We should have had those upgrades going already. Clem a little bit delayed on all of it, but it's because he was a little distracted. Recall on some of the most expensive units here, and that is going to force a pickup preemptively. He does not want to be caught off guard. Raven here sitting at 1 confirmed kill only, 6 HP, not what you're hoping for, and unable to really achieve anything until that Stalker leaves, which it may be doing right now. Big warp in inside of the main base as well, as now finally all of the gateways are transformed to warp gates. This is mostly just a distraction though, but in the meantime, a couple Immortals are left by themselves. I think that was supposed to be like a simultaneous counterattack, but now instead, we end up seeing herO lose a lot of units at the 3rd base, lose the Zealot warp in inside of the main base, and then also not achieve much with the rest of his army, because they were parked inside of the main. Dude, like a house of cards, everything is suddenly falling apart, and we see Clem at a 50 supply advantage. And this is before Clem has ever really gone for an attack. Yeah. And this is that mad genius part, right, of herO. Then again, though, he's playing very much so unexplored territory, right? Like, that's his general game style in this particular match. Clem is doing the most stock standard approach imaginable, and obviously Clem does it better than any other Terran out there. So, because of that, I gotta give a little bit of leeway right there to the Protoss. Like, yes, maybe it's not gonna work out in this particular game, but you gotta put a little asterisk right next to that statement, because there's certainly more refinement to be gained. And it's not like he's in an absolutely atrocious position right now by any stretch. He's still got a very solid amount of income. He's still on 5 bases. He still has good upgrades. Clem's just about to hit 2-2. It is going to coincide with him also maxing out at the same moment. Anti-armor missile, which is kind of sick, actually. The Raven finally putting in some work. A lot of Stalkers available. Ghost production has now also kicked in. Viking numbers are reasonably low. 8 Vikings is okay, but I think against 4 Colossi, you do want some more. Clem agrees. He's now making some more. And the top left-hand corner gets taken too by herO, man. herO is basically taking the entire outside of the entirety of the map. Hallucinated Colossi in the mix yet again. Which one of the Colossus is real? Disruptors now. Since the Viking count is getting big, that's when we're going into the Disruptors. Immortal tanks one of the Widowmine hits. Ultimately, though, the Colossi have to commit to try and fight this. Otherwise, never is anything going to work out favorably. Good micro there by Clem. Backs up yet again. Starts up a planetary fortress at his 5th. Now, suddenly, though, the Colossi are disappearing. And the Marauder count is still very high. You can now go ahead and land the Vikings. Yes, nicely done right here by Clem, who's going to proceed yet again. Big Zealot Warp in, actually. The Zealot Warp in is sick. Clem a little bit slow on starting up the 3-3 research. That's really going to give herO a very significant advantage here in the long run. But you know what? Maybe we don't even need the long run. herO trying his absolute best to push through for a win right now. Not going to happen, it seems. Clem holds. We have more and more warp-ins going in, but keep in mind, of course, that these medevacs take a while to regen energy. Stimpaks right now are expensive, and the shields are already fully regenerated onto all of the Protoss units. So herO decides to send it once again. This time around, also bring in a couple of Purification Novas into the mix. 3-3 has now started up right here for Clem, though. It's gonna be a while until that's, of course, finished, but yeah, I don't mind this here for herO at all. Keep up the pressure. The Widow Mines are, or sorry, the Medevacs are not going to be able to keep this up for too much longer. You do have to keep trading, and that's the difficult part. Nice split right there by Clem yet again. You can lose his entire army in quite literally one explosion. Upper left-hand corner, by the way. Normally a 5th base for Terran. Now mining. I wouldn't mind seeing a pylon over here as a backup to the Warp Prism. But I guess the real solution is just don't lose your Warp Prism. Clem doing a good job dodging all of it, but now the Purification Nova count is getting pretty high. Zealots and Stalkers are also breaking through. This transition from a Colossus army into a full Gateway style instead is pretty incredible. herO is still trying to break through, and it seems like he's getting the job done. Now with all of the Vikings gone, he could even go back into Colossus production yet again. And despite the fact that this is by no means the cleanest execution here for our Protoss from Korea, he gets the job done. It's taken a little bit, right? A couple weeks for the players to really get used to the majority of the changes. But it feels like we have now arrived at the very least, the beginning of a somewhat more mature version of the matchups. There's still a lot of experimentation going on. But certainly, the players are feeling more comfortable. Initially, it was all about, oh, when do I transform my gateway? Do I do it at all? Is it worth it? Right? But now we've already moved on to later stages in the game. And I'm sure there will be more refinement as well for the early game, but that was really nice. I wonder, though, if there was any opportunity for Clem to maybe be a bit more aggressive himself. Because he effectively spent the entire game sitting there and taking punches. We now are on the Old Sun Temple. This is a 4-player map, but you actually only have 2 spawn locations where your opponent can be. As far as I can tell, I think vertical spawns are always disabled. I've never seen a game with vertical spawns on this map. So it's either horizontal or cross. I think. Don't quote me on that. Maybe it is possible, but I've yet to see one. It always does feel to me, though, that if you are spawning in this type of setup, it's better for the player in the bottom left than for the player in the bottom right. Mostly because of the mineral situation, and it's difficult to take your base. So Protosses don't necessarily take a super fast 4th. But by the time that you take one, you do have to be very cautious with the rock situation over here in the mineral fields. Because like you can imagine, siege tanks up on the high ground, for example, and then Terran drops on the low ground. This base is very difficult to acquire. These rocks are very beefy, actually, and the mineral fields also are quite difficult to mine out. You notice this especially in the versus Zerg matchups, where versus Zerg, it's very notable that, yeah, in this spawn location, it's just way better for the player in the bottom left. Is herO gonna go for a proxy here? Ah, he knows his opponent is somewhere on the left. So if he's somewhere on the left, proxy Stargate in the middle of the 2 locations? Does he know? He's playing like he knows. How does he know? He's never gone across. What? Am I missing something here? Is there some sort of tell that's giving herO the heads up that Clem is in the bottom left? Or are we just flipping a coin and it accidentally landed on the correct side? Yeah, it's gonna be a proxy Stargate. Nah, I think if he knew it was indeed right over here at the bottom, he would have built it closer to the edge. Interesting. Yeah, I guess if you build it over here, it's also just more likely to get scouted. Plus, if you build a pylon over here, do you even have enough space to really put down a Stargate? It's a little fishy. I guess this is just him taking some chances. He's trying to see if there's going to be like a Reaper moving across. Doesn't see the Reaper. As a matter of fact, it's not a Reaper build. This is straight Marines right here for Clem. He's going to check the upper left. Yeah. So herO making all the smart choices, all the right calls. But he is gonna just double check, and now you will know. Okay. Opponent has to be in the bottom left. That means the Oracle should not be sent that way. This is not where the Oracle needs to be. Oracle should go straight down south into the opponent's base. Potentially, though, you could save up 2 of them. Keep in mind that these are SCVs. They have 45 HP compared to the 40 of probes and drones. meaning that it takes 3 shots for an Oracle to kill an SCV. Nobody knows why. Yeah. Makes it much harder to do Oracle aggression like this. Instant recall here upon seeing the Cyclone. In the meantime, we do also have the Adepts shading into the back of the Terran's natural. Yeah, there used to be a time when Adept openers were too busted against Terran specifically. So... I guess that's... What the hell is this? the map is so bloody large, man. Look at this. herO has just taken any of the bases where he happened to get to. All the way. Smack dead in the middle of the top of the map. The 12 o'clock. They call this tops in darts. Oracle, by the way. That's Oracle number 2. Getting into the main base as well and just being a bit of a nuisance. That's, I think, now 6 worker kills. Yeah, not a bad match here for herO thus far. 6 SCVs, 3 Marines, hidden base. Excellent work here by the South Korean Protoss yet again. We have a Phoenix as well. Phoenix is kind of sick. Just to be able to lift up 3 units. Like, if you can lift up the Cyclone while it's locked onto a Cyclone, or while it's locked onto an Oracle, for example, it cuts the ability. So any lock-on is going to be cancelled if it gets picked up by a Phoenix. It requires a lot of finicky micro. Oh, Clem is actually looking around. Wait, does Clem not know where the opponent spawned? Oh, Clem does not know that this is a horizontal spawn. He now sees... Dude... I thought he was gonna accidentally drive on over into the newly proxied base by herO. This is a scary attack though from Clem. You gotta respect it. Keep in mind that there's like no army available right now for herO. So this could be one of those mad genius moments where like everything's really smart and we've done a lot of damage and now we're hitting structures and all the rest of it. But here's Mike Tyson ready to punch you in the mouth. What do you do against this? Wait a second. Does he have enough units? You can lift up the siege tank as well, that's nice, but like, is there enough army? This one pylon is powering a lot. Gateway right now not even producing. Oh no, he's already given up. He's already given up on the main. Or on the natural, rather. He's already ready to retreat to the main. Yeah, Clem doesn't need to know about the base on the top. As a matter of fact, he may make the assumption that this expansion is taken. He doesn't care. He's coming here to, yeah, win the game. And you know what? Oh, you really... Oh, he sees the recall. Oh, herO. Jimmy is immediately wondering where things were headed. Stalkers have decided to sneak out of the main base to intercept a bunch of the units that are trying to reinforce. Clem right now decides to chase this army back. He scans and sees that indeed the 3rd base has not been taken. Stalkers have just run straight into the main base. They want to try and snipe the Stimpaks research, but of course that one's already done. That was combat shields getting denied. Not bad at all. Cyclone does fall. All that herO really wants to do right now is buy time. He's got the more mobile army. Stalkers are really bloody nice. Yeah, good micro as well. This has now got the potential to turn into an absolute clown show. Because there's so many bases for Clem, right? Like, Clem doesn't know. He can't possibly scan all of them. This is a 4-player map in the end. There's just so many bases available. Which one is herO currently situated at? Are you brave enough to send a medevac around the map when you know there's the threat of the Stalkers moving into your net? He decides to chase it. A bunch of the Protoss units do decide to eat the shots. Marauder count is high. Siege tanks also in a really lovely spot. Again, I think this is another one of those builds that needs a little bit more refinement. Because with a small number of adjustments, I think herO could save his natural. If you could save the natural, this game would be extremely good for Protoss. Right now, I am definitely favoring Clem here. Blink on cooldown. Couldn't get out. I think Clem is just about ready to go again. You know what I would like to see? Like 2 Marines inside of a medevac going around. I know it's kind of blasphemous to not fill up a medevac all the way, but he needs to know where those bases go, right? Like, where did those probes head to? At the very least, he knows there's a base out. So that's gonna force him to be the most aggressive he can possibly be. Maybe that's already enough. Not really giving Protoss too much headroom. Knowing that you can't just sit back and macro your way out of the situation may already be good enough right here for Clem. He's gonna go around the site. A lot of Widow Mines available, making it difficult for the Zealots to charge through. Lovely. One of the Widow Mines does detonate on very little, but the second one gets a good shot in. And GG gets called. Clem evens up the score. Sanctuary 3 is going to be map number 3 in this best of 5. This time around, apparently, we're starting off by immediately sending a probe across the map. We also get some of the original StarCraft 2 music. I know everybody's always loving the original StarCraft 1 tunes, but... It's a beautiful, beautiful song. The Blizzard music, man. Oh, I thought we were actually just trying to be annoying on the other side of the map, but no, that's not what we're doing. We are building a proxy on the other side of the map, and I guess we're gonna send some Zealots into the base. Ooh, Clem sees it. Clem sees it. He was just sending a scouting worker across and accidentally stumbles upon that. That's a misplay here. I guess normally if you go straight through the middle, you might not be able to spot it, but this is a very, very nice tell for Clem. Just don't take your low ground expansion now. The thing is, herO doesn't know that Clem knows. So he's gonna just commit to this, yeah, every single time, because obviously the SCV scout came in from the high ground. And you can't see up the high ground without units there. So bunker is coming up. herO's even, yeah, pretending like there is gonna be a hatchery block or a command center block. I think the command center block is, it's kind of ironic, right? Because you really don't want it. At this point, since he knows, he actually shows his opponent. Very funny. He shows his opponent that he's been spotted, cancels the bunker because of it, because he now assumes that herO assumes that he knows and that therefore it's not worth going for this anymore. And you know what? Apparently the rock, paper, scissors indeed was played in favor of Clem, who managed to get exactly what he wanted. This gateway has done nothing. There's an irony, right? Like a little bit of irony, at least, to scouting your opponent's hidden structure from the high ground, then showing your opponent that you've seen, canceling the bunker that you were making as a protective measure against it, and going into a straight depot instead. Don't even really know if that's necessarily the best way to approach it, though. The main problem now for herO is that we're gonna see Marauders out in just a moment, and this is the type of cheese that Protoss players deal with all the time. And it's scary. Normally it's proxied, but even from this side of the map, it's still a scary push. I think it's basically a guaranteed kill on the gateway. And the pylon. herO needs to make another pylon, actually, if he wants to not be supply block. Not just this one, but another one. Oh, he's gonna hit the biggest supply block here. He's not started up a pylon yet. Yeah. Yeah, he can't do anything for like a minute. No command center done yet, though, for Clem. He fires one up as soon as I click back into his main base. Clem here doesn't know about the supply block. Yeah, he decides to just take things into his own hands here and be safe about the whole setup. Goes for a bunker anyways. Right now, though, he sees the Nexus, decides to cancel the gateway, or the bunker, rather, a second time around. And I'm guessing we're gonna go into a Cyclone once more. A little bit of mutual respect, right, from both of the players. It's the type of move that we've now seen a few times in this game where you assume that your opponent assumes that you're good enough to not let this work, so you take some safety precautions and then take some of them away again. Probably not the best thing to do on the ladder, because if your opponent just doubles down, you run into a bunch of problems. So, ultimately, as the dust settles, we now continue this game from a relatively normal state. Both players are nearer, similar in worker count. Both players have an expansion done. What? We're going Stargate now? Sometimes I wonder what's going on in herO's mind, man. I feel like in this type of game, he's like, okay, what would be the least expected thing that I can reliably get away with? Either that or he assumes that it's going to be some sort of Marauder push real soon. I mean, I think he's already got Marauders covered, though. Prism and 2 Immortals. They can eat quite literally dozens of Marauders. So we really don't need, like, another follow-up. What do we even do with this? If we start making Phoenixes now, they're so late. Oracles makes no sense. Void Ray also makes no sense, though. Yeah, so Phoenixes it has to be. Void Ray would be good if he assumed it was going to be some sort of all-in. Hallucinated Phoenix. We're even going +1 air weapons? herO. 2 sentries were cute. Were very, very cute. They were making out, I think. Sorry, shoot that back up? Sorry, lads. Lads, there's a war to win! This is not the time for smooching! Alright. Probius pulled them apart. Good. Good, good, good. Disgusting. Alright. Prism drop in the main base. Hallucinated Phoenix leading this to see if it's clear. Getting a reactor. Potentially getting a tech lab. Lock on here. Don't think we really can do too much. Nah. Oh no, he's getting denied now. Either that or... I don't want to think about it. Third Nexus is gonna fire up, and you know what? Even though this is the absolute latest moment to go into a Sentry transition, or a Phoenix transition rather, we're just doubling down. Always double down. That's the lesson. Half measures in a game like StarCraft, not a good idea. And even if it doesn't work, at least you look kind of dumb while losing, you know? So you got that going for you. Now we're going Phoenixes into Robo Bay. If we wanted to go into Colossi, we could have gone into Colossi a couple minutes ago. There's very little that would have prevented herO from putting that structure down earlier. I'm just wondering how in the world the Phoenixes are going to get value in this match. This one is masquerading as a hallucinated Phoenix. Yeah. Fair enough. They're gonna get +1 air. He's saving up Phoenixes on the right side of the map. Is this smart? I guess after playing the gateway style in the last couple games, we're now making the full transition here towards the exact opposite. Like, this is the Protoss equivalent of playing mech. Right? We're going like Stargates and Robo facilities and Colossi and Phoenixes and potentially like a mothership later on. We're getting rid of most of the low tier units this time. Clem has no idea. This is one of the things they didn't really address in the new patch. For Terrans, it oftentimes feels like moving out is the wrong call. So it kind of results in the type of game where Protoss can just kind of do whatever, and Terran feels like they can only do one thing. It's been one of the main complaints at the highest level for this matchup, that Protoss just has so much freedom and that Terran can't really do much. And we're kind of seeing that yet again here, right? Like, it's not really something that's been addressed at all. Viking production has started up. While at this point, obviously, air superiority is in favor of herO. Clem is going to be able to catch up pretty quickly, pumping out Vikings 4 at a time. Second starport, no, third starport, already added into the mix. Fleet Beacon gets added in as well. Twilight Council now too. We are playing Sky Wars. Let's see. Are these Phoenixes any good? I mean, it's a very Marauder-heavy army. He can lift up pretty much half the mineral line. Yeah, in one fell swoop. What are we doing? How many did he lose? Let's see. 3 Phoenixes died. 3 Phoenixes died, and he on pulse crystals. I mean, I guess with this many Phoenixes, you may as well. That's the ranged upgrade for Phoenixes. Probably the least played upgrade in the entire game these days. Yeah, I don't know. What would be the least made upgrade? Probably a weapon refit for battlecruisers. Just because battlecruisers are so rare. But still. This is certainly up there. We don't really see it all too often, and I guess weapon refit is pretty much every time you play a battlecruiser build. Unless it's like a 1BC build, but I never see those anymore, ever. The thing is, though, there's a reason Skytos is very popular against Zerg, but not so much against Protoss. Mass Viking beats everything. Now, this is a very lopsided engagement here for herO, losing a ton of troops before the fight even really begins. Yeah, Clem will take this with open arms. Viking numbers are growing. Skytle's numbers are dwindling, although we're replacing some of the low tier ones with the absolute highest tier ones. The problem is, all of these Protoss units get countered by Vikings. Phoenixes get countered by Vikings. Colossi get countered by Vikings. Carriers get countered by Vikings. And this is a really cool game plan. But again, one that needs a little bit more time in the oven. Admittedly, though, for herO, I guess he kind of gave up on this game after getting his proxy scouted, right? At like minute 2. He was at a pretty significant deficit at that point, so he's just trying to send it and do something fun. But yeah, I just don't see this working against a world-class Terran. There's a lot of units, by the way, out for Terran somewhere. This is not the whole army. Okay, they're now arriving, I guess. Yeah, he's got little pockets of units still moving across. Carriers out. Mothership is going to be coming in. Yeah, you just keep pumping out Vikings. This is basically all you do. That's your entire decision-making process. You pump out Vikings first, and then any sort of resources you have on the back of it, you can spend on whatever you like. Preferably a unit that can also shoot up. GG gets cold. Clem gets another point on the board. Playing an amazing game number 3. Next up, BlackRock. Yet again, herO starts the game off by sending a probe straight across the map. Last time around it was to build a proxy. The proxy did absolutely nothing, but obviously Clem did get a little bit lucky, as he just saw it coming in, well, at the earliest possible moment. Now, this time around is just to be a jerk. This probe is a bully. Yeah, and I've learned in all my years of casting StarCraft that being a bully, at least in StarCraft, is a great thing, man. Yeah, generally speaking, the bullies perform really well. Maybe not true in IRL necessarily, but in StarCraft, just being as much of a jerk as possible, constantly hitting your opponent in the face, maybe giving them a wedgie or something, I don't know. It's a great game plan, just across the board. Engineering by blocks, pylon blocks, anything you can really do to try and throw your opponent off their strategy, generally speaking, really good. Even at the highest level. Just imagine how much it is really giving you value on the ladder, right? Anything to disrupt the opponent really seems to be worthwhile. Probes, of course, will regenerate shields. So he's basically pulling away as soon as he's low on shields. Doesn't want to lose the probe, of course. Now, you don't regen shields if you're getting attacked. So he has to play this ring around the rosy style for a little bit. Now the shields are fully regent, and we fight again for a bit. How do you think he picks the probe? Does he pick, like, the biggest and baddest looking one? I don't know. Good movement here. Yeah, nicely done by Clem. Gets rid of the probe, gets rid of the bully. Clem running his own anti-bullying campaign here in this particular match, showing us that maybe bullying is not the right thing to do. I don't know how he chooses it. So basically the game starts off and he picks one of the probes and sends it straight across the map. Maybe it's like the Hunger Games. Could be. I volunteer as tribute! And then Probius gets to go. Shout out to Probius. He did not make it to the cornucopia, I guess. Or maybe he made it, but then immediately died. Unlucky. Okay. After the Marine, we get a Reaper. Already another probe is sneaking towards the right side of the map. Dude, herO is... it's not really working out too nicely for him so far in these games. At least as far as the overall results go, but... he has been having a good time, eh? Do we go for another proxy? I don't know, Probius. Reaper is still being a bit obnoxious. After running an anti-bullying campaign in the previous part of the game, apparently now Clem is being the bully himself. The irony. Keep in mind that you can now just put down a single pylon, right? And still get all of the benefits from fast warp-ins. There's no more... Ooh, there's no more such mechanic as fast warp-ins. So warp-ins are now 4 seconds flat. Wait, is it 4 seconds or 3 seconds? I know they messed around with the numbers for a while. I know gateways now transform in 4 seconds flat. They used to be much slower. So you can go back and forth between gateways and warp gates. Anyways. You no longer need a gateway or a nexus attached to this pylon to get fast warp-ins. And that's kind of sick. A, because it's just easier to go for proxies, but B, it's also much easier to hide a pylon than it is to hide a pylon and a gateway. It's much more common now for Protoss players to just be able to get away with it, just because Terran can't possibly find the smallest possible structure very easily. It was always a confusing mechanic as well. Oh. Jimmy's gonna die. Another Jimmy? No, not quite. This is messy. I guess there's a distraction going on in the back of the Protoss is natural. No more movement there from Clem. Giving up on that in the end. Okay, so as the dust has now settled, I do like this spot quite a bit better though for Clem. This proxy pylon will likely be spotted. Oh! There's a lot of grass here, a lot of tall grass on this map. Cyclone lives for now. Adept does get within range, but does not quite shoot it. So these line of sight blockers are kind of crazy. Clem cannot see past them without having like a flying unit above it or having units looking through the tall grass. It's a really neat little feature here actually on Blackrock. The mapmaker has done this because the entire middle section of the map, with the exception actually of the main bases, this entire map is just one leveled playing field. So everything is entirely flat. And to make up for some of the advantages, we have these line of sight blockers all over the place instead, which creates a bit of a different dynamic. Does that mean that the mapmaker is a flat earther? Can somebody check in with AVEX? Probably. He's a flat mapper anyways. Okay. What just happened here? What? What just happened here? Wait, so the adepts get cancelled? I backed up a little bit. What did we kill? Suddenly there was blood. Am I hallucinating? Oh, one of the adepts decided to commit and the siege tanks fired. Okay. I got a little confused why suddenly there was blood splatter. I thought herO had cancelled all 3 of the shades. But cute little play there. He's ready to do it again. Okay. Clem slowly securing this low ground properly. It's gonna get progressively harder right now for herO to really get any damage done. But he's got freedom. Yeah. This is that moment in Terran versus Protoss where Protoss is putting the roof of their car down. They sing along to their favorite song. They have the wind in their hair while driving down the highway. It's a beautiful day to be a Protoss player. The only problem is that at some point the rain will return. And it will be usually with Stimpack combat shields and +1. This time around, though, we have a bit of a disjointed setup right here for Clem. He will have Stimpack done, but I don't really see if he can do anything with it. Yeah. We saw that, I guess, in the second game of this best of 5, right? Where Clem just sent everything that he had across the map. But usually, Protoss just has a lot of freedom now. Now, even if he would go across the map, the Invisible Men are not a bad choice. Dark Shrine here for herO. I think that's the only tech path we haven't seen him go for. He's just going straight into the Dank Templar now. Very good offensively, but against the 2cc all-in, very strong defensively too. You can just warp in 1 Dark Templar at a time. Terran will run out of scans eventually. Okay. Okay. Yeah, and this is when Clem feels like his only choice is to sit here and be a punching bag. I still think this is something that needs to be addressed, man. I don't really know exactly what the solution is. But Protoss just has so much freedom. And Terran just kind of sits here and gets punched in the face. Now, it's very playable for Terran. As a matter of fact, maybe Terran even has the upper hand. But being forced to sit here and just take, beating the entire game long is kind of rough. It wasn't always like this. Yeah, this charged ult push is nice, but not really achieving too much. He's gonna back out again after killing the siege tank. I think the main thing that changed it was cloaked Widow Mines. They changed the way that Widow Mine cloaking works. And ever since then, Protosses have been walking around like the entire map is their main base in this matchup. And yeah, we're entering that territory right now. Clem's totally fine though. Here go the Invisible Men. It is scary. Yeah, they can kill workers so bloody fast. There's 1 over in the natural, 2 inside of the main base. Scanning the natural is gonna get rid of 1. I really don't know what the best solution is, though, to give maybe a little bit more freedom as well to Terrans at this stage in the game. Because Clem really is just here to take an absolute beating. Excellent bit of damage done here by the Dark Templar. High risk, high reward type of playstyle. We're even going now into the Blink upgrade for the DTs. Double research coming in. After playing Protoss mech in the previous game, we're going into full Gateway Man yet again. Oh, even the 3rd base is in trouble. Whew. Maybe it's also to do, though, with the absolute top-of-the-line Protoss players, right? They're just so active, and they're, like... Their scope of like, just the amount of stuff that herO is capable of playing is kind of ridiculous. Clem's gonna scout the base over here on the right. That's nice and all. But what are you gonna be able to do about it? herO basically makes any unit at any point in the game, right? And it's so difficult for Terran to try and figure out what the correct choice is. But it feels to me the only way you can really be aggressive at this stage in the game is by pulling all the SCVs. And that's about it. Dark Templar going in around the side yet again. herO absolutely moving all over the place. DTs now blink into the main because of the high ground provided by the hallucinated Phoenix. Still though, this has been some really stellar defending here from Clem. Yeah, I really don't think that was worth it in the end. That's kind of crazy actually, how cleanly Clem just managed all of it. Stutter stepping over here, but also stutter stepping against the single DT in the main. 5th Nexus is going to finish up. 4th Command Center finally begins. This is far from a cost-efficient style for herO, but this is effectively him playing Zerg now, right? I mean, he's playing Protoss, but taking a page out of the Zerg playbook. Very quick double upgrades. Huge economy. We do not need cost efficiency. All we need is murder all over. He is going to recall some of the anti-air units towards the right side because we did have a sneaky medevac loaded up, sending the units all the way around. This is not a bad spot though for Clem. Like, it's one of those weird spots, right, where you kind of feel like Clem has been losing the game the entire match long. And every single game that is like this, it feels like Protoss holds all the cards. But then if you look at the supply count, if you look at the upgrades, it's not a bad situation here for Clem. It's just relentless. herO's gonna keep sending in unit after unit after unit. Hallucinated Colossus though, not gonna deal any damage. Stalkers and Zealots here are all getting cleaned up. Every time he does so, there's another warp in. A very large number of units is yet again ready to go. Blink finally coming, by the way. Super late Blink. He's been favoring the Dark Templar play over Blink Stalkers. Slowly but surely, Clem's army supply is getting bigger. Right now it's 88 versus 26. Massive amount of army supply advantage here for Clem. 10 Dark Templar? 10 Dark Templar. Really? Dude, these guys are so freaking entertaining. It's actually sick, right? Like, these guys are so good at the game. Because it feels like Clem is down and out, right? Oh, he blinks behind the army. Prevent a retreat. It's like a Dark Templar Zealot sandwich. Yeah, it feels like you don't really have a lot to do here as Terran, at least aggressively. You just feel like you're kind of there sitting and just getting punched in the mouth the entire time long, but then you're slowly starting to overtake Protoss as far as the supply count goes. These are all not bad fights for Clem, man. Womp womp. That's 2 Archons finishing up. They got a new sound effect. The womp womp sound effect. Okay. 2-2. Nearly done. Widow Mines set up over here on the left side of the map primarily. Clem was just about ready to go for an attack, but yet again, Clem needs to go back. As long as the SCV count is fine, as long as the upgrades are kicking. This is not an unplayable position here for the Frenchman. Look at the amount of resources, right? That's like 50 Zealots worth of resources lost more on the side of Clem. Or on the side of herO, of course. Clem can't make Zealots, believe it or not. Speaking of Zealots, we have more of them moving in over here. The siege tanks have been having a grand old time. 11 kills. Maybe some of them friendlies. Ooh, big warp in the main will not complete. Yeah, and herO needs to be careful that he does not get too throwy with all of his army. He keeps sending units to their graves. And he's paying the price. The resources lost is just heavily in favor right now of the Terran. No more scan required to reveal the Dark Templar because we have EMP available from the Ghost. And now the extra command centers are going to be a bit cheaper. Taking every base he can, though. That's the game plan, right? That's the Zergy way of doing things. Don't take the efficient traits, but just outmine the opponent in the long run. Recall here to try and maybe bring some of the units back towards the upper left. No anti-air available, so, I mean, other than the Stalkers, but no flying units available to deal with the medevac, so that medevac can always be a bit of a threat. herO also kind of needs to be aggressive constantly, because he needs to make his army look big. He needs to make this army look scary. If Clem can force a full-on fight on the side of the Protoss, he can probably parade push his way to a win. That's why herO really likes the idea of this Terran army sitting at home and not moving across too much. All we really have is a couple medevac drops trying to be annoying. Looks like the drop on the right side is a little bit more successful than the one on the left. Medevac decides to hide again, but it lost all of its cargo. Can the Marines actually finish off the Nexus? That would be sick. Huh. Command center is flying on over towards the right side. There's already a Nexus building there. Is he gonna get it? Oh, he will get it. Thanks for your service, Jimmy. This is a very difficult part of the map, by the way, for Terran to acquire. The first 4 bases on Blackrock are pretty easy, but then this whole section of the map feels impossible. Big EMPs yet again. Clem is going to have to dedicate pretty much all of his army to this. Colossus count is big, man, and they obviously deal a lot of damage now. Also to the Marauders. Stalkers blink underneath. They want to get rid of the Vikings. Nice targeting here yet again. That'll be the end of the Vikings if Clem is not careful. Another big warp in from that pylon. Command center actually taking a lot of damage. That's awkward. Dude, losing the CC right now, that would be almost 400 minerals down. But not quite, because it's 300 now. But still, it would still be significant. I mean, if you're around 300 up to 400, it would be 400. Nice Purification Nova as well. Clem trying to snipe them to the best of his abilities. Nexus, by the way, now done. In the spot where that command center wanted to land. Free Disruptor. Finally getting rid of the pylon as well, but there's another pylon right over here. herO can just keep warping in unit after unit after unit, and this feels just like a wave of Protoss that is nearly unstoppable. Command center is once more trying to move a little bit further forward. He decides to just land it over here to maybe split the Zealots in half. Doesn't quite get the job done. We're going back south again. And this type of skirmish, it's dangerous for herO, but if he can keep this going for a while, Clem is gonna run out of cash. They've been skirmishing here for several minutes now. We're nearly, well, 19 into this game. That means that the third base is gonna be running low here. Clem is soon gonna be reduced to effectively just one base eco, so he needs to move fast. New Colossus has popped out. Vikings are still around, so he can once more fly him up into the air. Yeah, things are starting to become a little bit desperate. The main is out, the natural is out. We need a new base real soon. He's a little overstimped right now as well because of the constant fighting. Colossus is gone though, so that means the Vikings can land yet again and tank for the Marauders. Clem needs to push this army away right here, right now, or otherwise he's gonna just run out of steam. herO still has enough money available though to keep warping in. Stalker's move command! This is the worst timing to be move commanding. I think he was busy sending probes south or whatever. But this has now given Clem a potentially new base. Or a potential new base. We're going orbital. Yeah, planetary is expensive. We're going orbital command here. All that Clem really wants is a moment to breathe and to let some energy regenerate on those medevacs. Already, we have herO ready for his next push. Still, he's a very substantial amount of supply behind. And right now, look at that. For the first time, I think this entire game, Clem grabs the income advantage. Excellent play here by the Frenchman. But that was on a razor's edge. Incredibly close. If herO would have been able to deny that fifth, I think the game would have been over. Instead, it continues going. And we've got a pretty nice wall over here now, right? Like, this is difficult for Protoss to really break through. It means that the majority of the Terran army can be set up right over here. Clem reaches a maxed out state, fires up a new command center, goes into the fusion core as well, so we can go for the Liberator ranged. We don't really have any Liberators yet. Oh, we're going 3 additional command centers. Not bad. This base is... yeah, you can just stand and fight. This base is not gonna happen here for Protoss. And obviously with this expansion taken now, the one on the bottom right becomes so much easier, and the same over here for the one on the right. All of these expansions are far more accessible now. herO once more warping in a nice little S type of formation. He's Zorro. He could do a Zorro as well. Anyways, we have a Terran drop in the meantime on the left side of the map. I think that herO is actually fizzling out, man. Clem playing an absolute masterclass of Terran versus Protoss here. It felt to me like he was nearly down and out. But he is managing all of this. So many probes are dying right now for herO, and that's going to even up the worker count. I think that's going to be another Nexus falling as well. The Zealots in the main base have nowhere to run. Stalkers over at the third are going to get EMP'd, and they will also fall, furthering Clem's advantage in this game. I mean, this is just about perfect here. We're going to go into the base in the bottom. Yeah, bottom right-hand corner. It's a freebie. Liberator here is nice. SCVs get pulled pretty rapidly. We need a lot more army in this location. Advanced ballistics coming up. That's Liberator ranged. herO's now playing the gateway style, though, on just 56 probes. And while he's dealt a lot of damage too on the other side of the map, you cannot really afford playing a Stalker Zealot-based army on less than like 70, maybe 80, preferably 90 workers. Already, Clem is starting to double him in the supply count. Ah, beautiful game. Beautiful game right here by Clem. I don't think anybody else could have done this, honestly. I think any other Terran out there would have lost. You have to tiptoe around, right? Like, you have to tiptoe around, especially this portion of the map. It's so difficult to acquire. But right now, Clem is firmly in control. GG gets cold. Wow. That game felt like it was in herO's hands for like the first, I want to say 80% of it. Clem managed to ultimately secure a new base there. And as soon as the 5th was his, he managed to get the job done. So that's a 3-1 victory over herO in the finals. Phenomenal match. GG.